Okay, picture this. It's 2026. Your hospital has just rolled out a brand new AI system to help triage patients as they come in. Now, a decision that algorithm makes could literally save a life, or it could cost one. Getting this right isn't just important, it's everything. So, what are the rules? Let's dive into the absolute must-have guidelines for implementing AI triage safely and, just as importantly, effectively.
Right now, every healthcare leader is standing at a major crossroad. On one side, you've got the huge risk of what we call black box AI. These algorithms that spit out decisions with zero explanation. That path? Well, it leads straight to malpractice suits, to clinicians who just flat out reject the tech, and of course, to massive HIPAA violations. But on the other side, if you do it right, a compliant, transparent AI system brings incredible benefits. We're talking real liability protection, clinicians who actually trust the tools they're using, and the whole point of all this, better patient safety. So you see, the choice isn't really if you'll use AI, it's how you're going to build it to make sure you land on the right side of that crossroad.
So you might be asking, why is this conversation happening with so much urgency right now? What's changed? Well, the reason is the massive shift in the technology itself, the rise of what are called foundation models. These are enormous AI models trained on just unbelievable amounts of data that can then be fine-tuned for all sorts of specialized tasks. And when you apply them to medicine, wow, it's a whole new ballgame, a true game changer.
And the kind of power we're talking about here is just staggering. I mean, we are not talking about simple little symptom checkers anymore. We have new FDA-cleared models from companies like ADOC that can take a single CT scan and at the same time screen for up to 14 different acute conditions. Yeah, 14. Things like appendicitis, internal injuries, bowel obstructions, all from one scan. This incredible power is exactly why the conversation has shifted. It's no longer just, hey, is this AI accurate? The much more critical question now is the AI's workflow governable? Is it safe? And is it defensible? Answering that question, making sure it's safe and governable, isn't about slamming the brakes on technology. No way. It's about building the right guardrails. The solution, really, is a framework built on 3 core pillars. This is the blueprint, the actionable guide for building an AI triage system that you can actually trust. And if it comes to it, defend in court. Pillar number 1 is explainable AI, or XAI. The best way to think about this is moving from that dangerous black box to a totally transparent clear box. The logic here is just common sense. Doctors are not going to use a tool if they can't understand why it's making a specific recommendation, right? If an AI flags a patient as high risk, the clinician has to know what factors drove that decision, period. And look, this isn't just some vague, nice-to-have idea. There are specific requirements being laid out in journals, like the Journal of Medical Internet Research. Your AI has to provide a really clear short list of the reasons it escalated a case. It also has to show how confident it is, like a confidence band, so a doctor knows if the AI is 99% sure or more like 60% sure. And this one is so important. Its reasoning has to be stable and consistent over time. You can't have it giving different reasons for the same inputs. That's how you build real long-term trust. Okay, pillar number 2 builds right on top of that need for trust. It's the human-in-the-loop mandate. This directly addresses one of the biggest fears out there when it comes to clinical AI, this idea of letting an algorithm just run wild on its own. The potential liability of a fully autonomous AI making a critical mistake is just way too high. A human clinician must always be the final decision maker. So how do you actually make that happen? You do it by building hard-coded thresholds right into the software. For instance, you set a rule. If the AI detects any predefined red flag symptom, bam, it must automatically trigger a human review, no exceptions. Same goes for those weird, unusual edge cases that don't fit the normal patterns. The system doesn't just suggest a review, it forces the case into a queue for human to make the final call. These are the practical guardrails that prevent those nightmare scenarios. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, which tackles the big, scary monster in the room, data privacy. I mean, how on earth do you connect a powerful AI to your electronic health records without creating a complete and total HIPAA disaster? The answer is by designing a HIPAA-compliant architecture from the very first line of code. It's about protecting that patient data at all costs. So let's quickly break down the technical rules of the road here. First, the system must operate on a least privilege basis. That means the AI only gets the absolute bare minimum data it needs to do its job, and nothing more. Second, and this is so critical,
all protected health information, or PHI, is either tokenized or redacted before it ever gets to the AI model. The AI literally never sees a patient's name or social security number. Third, you make darn sure that zero PHI is ever stored in server logs. And finally, all the data gets mapped to FHIR standards. That's just a universal language for health data that ensures it can talk safely with your hospital's main record systems.
Okay, so we've covered the three pillars, right? Explainability, a human in the loop, and a HIPAA-compliant design. So what does this actually look like when a real patient comes through the door? Let's walk through what a compliant workflow actually looks like in practice.
It's really a pretty straightforward three-stage process. Step 1, the patient's symptom data comes in and is immediately standardized and cleaned up. Step 2, the AI gets to work on that clean data. It provides its recommendation, along with its explanation and its confidence score. And then, step 3, the most important step, a human doctor reviews everything the AI put out. They look at the recommendation, the reasoning, and they make the final call. They can either approve it or override it. It's that simple, safe, clean, and totally defensible.
But there is one last, absolutely crucial piece that ties this entire thing together. It's the ultimate safeguard. It's the thing that will protect your organization when everything is on the line. Let's get right to the bottom line. If a bad outcome ever occurs, you must be able to prove exactly what happened and why every decision was made. An immutable audit trail is your only real protection here. We're talking about a permanent digital snapshot that captures the AI's reasoning, the data the patient provided, and the doctor's final sign-off, all locked in time at that precise moment of triage. This is completely non-negotiable. Which really leaves every single healthcare leader out there with one fundamental question they have to answer as they move into this new world. When your AI makes a critical call, when the stakes are as high as they can you truly, confidently stand behind that call and defend it? Because your answer to that question is going to define the future of care at your organization.